Your financial decisions have almost nothing to do with math. They have everything to do with a story, one that was written for you before you were old enough to earn a single dollar. This is the wealth code. Stay with me, because later in this video I am going to show you the single moment in childhood that most accurately predicts your adult net worth. And it is not what any financial advisor has ever told you. In 2012, researchers at Cambridge University published findings that stopped the financial world cold. They concluded that our core money habits, the ones that drive every major financial decision we make, are essentially locked in by age 7. 7 years old. Before you understood compound interest. Before you had a bank account. Before anyone sat you down and explained what a mortgage was, your emotional operating system around money was already running. And here is the number that should genuinely disturb you. A 2019 study published in a Journal of Financial Therapy found that 78% of adults make their largest financial decisions, buying homes, taking on debt, investing or refusing to invest, based primarily on emotional triggers rather than financial logic. 78%. That is not a minority. That is almost everyone. Most financial content treats you like a broken calculator, like you just need the right formula and you will suddenly make perfect decisions. But you are not a broken calculator. You are a fully functioning emotional system that learned what money means from people who were also emotionally damaged by money. The real reason you are not where you want to be financially has nothing to do with your income, your education, or your access to information. It has everything to do with invisible emotional scripts, running silently, constantly, beneath every swipe of your card and every time you hesitate to ask for what you are worth. Psychologists call these scripts money scripts, a term coined by financial therapist Dr. Brad Klontz, whose research at Kansas State University identified 4 core patterns that govern almost every financial behavior. Avoidance. Worship. Status. Vigilance. Money avoiders believe that wealth is inherently corrupting, that rich people are greedy, and that wanting money is somehow shameful. They unconsciously self-sabotage. They underprice their services. They avoid looking at their bank balances. They give money away faster than they earn it because deep down, holding on to it feels morally dangerous. Money worshippers believe that more money will solve everything, and they chase it compulsively, never feeling like enough is enough. The promotions, the side hustles, the constant hustle. Not because they are disciplined, because they are terrified. Now add to this what Nobel Prize-winning psychologist Daniel Kahneman documented, loss aversion. Kahneman's research showed that the psychological pain of losing $100 is roughly twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining the same amount. Twice as powerful. This means your brain is wired to make financial decisions based on fear of loss, not rational calculation of gain. And then there is status quo bias, our deep cognitive preference for the current state of things, no matter how destructive that state is. Shlomo Benartzi and Richard Thaler at the University of Chicago demonstrated this in pension research. People consistently fail to enroll in free retirement savings plans simply because doing nothing felt safer than acting. Failing to act. Because doing nothing felt safer. While leaving thousands of dollars on the table. These are not personal failures. These are engineered psychological responses, and someone is absolutely profiting from them. Let me be direct about something that most finance channels will never say. The financial services industry, banks, credit card companies, payday lenders, even some investment platforms, has spent billions of dollars studying your emotional triggers. Not to help you. To use them. JPMorgan Chase employs behavioral economists. So does Bank of America. So does every major credit card issuer. They know about loss aversion. They know about present bias, your tendency to overvalue immediate reward versus future benefit. They engineer their products around your psychological vulnerabilities. The minimum payment line on your credit card statement is not a suggestion. It is a psychological anchor, designed by people who know that anchoring, a concept documented by Tversky and Kahneman, will make a dangerously low number feel acceptable. The buy now pay later industry, companies like Klarna and Afterpay, generated over $25 billion in revenue in 2023 alone. Their entire business model is built on one psychological truth: pain of payment is reduced when payment is deferred. They are monetizing your brain's inability to feel future financial pain as viscerally as present financial pain. Schools do not teach financial psychology because it is not in the interest of the consumer credit industry for you to understand it. That is not a conspiracy. That is just business. Retention peak. But here is the part that will actually change how you see money. Shame is the most expensive emotion you will ever carry. Not market crashes. Not bad investments. Shame. Brené Brown's research at the University of Houston showed that shame, unlike guilt, is not about what you did. It is about what you believe you are. And when shame gets attached to money, something devastating happens. People stop looking. They stop opening statements. They stop tracking. They stop asking questions. They stay in financial situations that are slowly destroying them, not because they lack the intelligence to leave, but because looking directly at their financial reality feels like confirming their worst belief about themselves. The person drowning in debt who cannot bring themselves to add up what they owe, that is not laziness. That is shame-based avoidance. The person who earns 6 figures but has nothing saved, that is not stupidity. That is a childhood money script running on autopilot that says people like us do not get to keep money. And here is the most brutal part. The shame keeps you silent. And silence keeps you from getting help. And the isolation compounds the problem. It is a closed loop, and it is designed to look like a personal failing so you never realize it is a systemic one. Your shame is not a character flaw. It is the mechanism of your financial imprisonment. Here is what the research actually shows, and it is not what the motivational industry wants to sell you. Studies by Thomas J. Stanley, author of The Millionaire Next Door, found that the majority of genuinely wealthy people are not optimists. They are strategic realists with extremely high emotional tolerance for financial discomfort. They look at bad numbers without flinching. Not because they feel nothing, but because they have decoupled their identity from their financial position. The number in the account is data. It is not a verdict on who they are. This is the specific cognitive pattern, identity separation from financial outcomes. Wealthy people also practice what behavioral economists call mental accounting deliberately. The average person uses mental accounting unconsciously, treating a tax refund as free money and a paycheck as real money, even though both are identical. High net worth individuals consciously assign every dollar a psychological category before it arrives, not in a budget spreadsheet, but in their emotional framework. The money has a job before it lands. And perhaps the most non-obvious behavior, they talk about money out loud. In families, with partners, sometimes with peers. The silence around wealth is predominantly a middle-class and lower-income phenomenon. Wealthy families discuss money at the dinner table the same way other families discuss weather. The normalization of those conversations removes shame and builds financial fluency, generationally. The wealth gap is partly a conversation gap. Step 1. Audit your earliest money memory. Not your current budget, your earliest emotional memory involving money. What were you told? What did you observe? What was the feeling in the room when money was discussed? Write it down. Brad Klontz's research shows that simply identifying and naming a money script reduces its unconscious power significantly. You cannot reprogram what you cannot see. Step 2. Separate the feeling from the fact. Next time you feel a financial emotion, anxiety before checking your balance, guilt after a purchase, shame when someone asks about your salary, pause and name the emotion explicitly. Then ask, what is the actual financial fact here? Not the story. The fact. This single practice, rooted in cognitive behavioral therapy, creates a gap between your emotional response and your behavioral decision. That gap is where financial change lives. Step 3. Create a financial exposure ritual. Once a week, same day, same time, sit with your full financial picture for 15 minutes. Not to fix anything. Just to look. Behavioral exposure therapy shows that repeated, low-stakes exposure to anxiety-inducing stimuli reduces the anxiety response over time. You are literally retraining your nervous system to tolerate financial reality without triggering a shame spiral. Consistency matters more than duration here. Step 4. Change the language you use about money. The words you use are not just descriptions, they are cognitive frames that shape behavior. Replacing "I cannot afford that" with "I am choosing not to prioritize that right now" is not positive thinking. It is an identity shift from scarcity victim to intentional agent. It is neurologically and psychologically distinct. Research in linguistic relativity shows that the language we use about concepts shapes how we cognitively process those concepts. Your financial vocabulary is either a cage or a tool. Your net worth will never consistently exceed your emotional relationship with money, which means the most valuable financial investment you will ever make is understanding why you feel what you feel when money is involved. The financial system is not broken. For many people, it is working exactly as designed, keeping emotionally unexamined people in cycles that benefit institutions more than individuals. But awareness is leverage. What you now understand about money scripts, shame, and the psychology of financial decisions, most people will go their entire lives never knowing. Use it. If this shifted something for you, subscribe, because tomorrow we go even deeper. Next, watch our video on why your income ceiling is not a market problem, it is a self-worth problem, and exactly how to raise it. This is the Wealth Code.